This is day 7. This is when it gets real. After all this B&B and hiking and during the day and having a nice warm cozy bed at night, it all comes to a grinding halt tonight, or right now. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, stay safe.
And I'm right by a sign. It might be difficult to see, but it says 4H point. Says 0.04, but it's probably more like 0.4 blue blaze. And you see the blue blaze on the tree there, and that'll lead you downhill to the 4H facility. I've for the in the good weather, that's probably a good place to stop. For the bubble coming north, because you can get a cheap shower in, I think, the pool there. But there's information about this place, I think, in Guthook, but definitely an AWOL guide as well. We stayed for the last couple days, actually the first night before I started my hike, and then for the last, I guess, 3 nights at the Woodward House on Manor Grand B&B. Great place. The hosts running the place are Bob and Joan Kay. They have a nice house with a bunch of rooms on the 2nd floor. They have a couple of cottages out back, so it's like having a mini house. And Joan and Bob do a great breakfast in the morning, all kinds of stuff. Start out with a muffin and a nice, beautiful fruit arrangement, and then all kinds of eggs, waffles, pancakes, oatmeal, hot apples, coffee, tea, juice, you name it. So I'm not going to need lunch today. Joan puts a bunch of cookies, fresh baked cookies in the room, along with a bunch of candy, all kinds of good stuff. My hip belt pocket is loaded with mini Snickers, 3 Musketeers. I'm about 2.9 in on my hike today, and this is the Tom Floyd Wayside. Shelters over there. Small shelter. Privy right there. There's a bear pole. Looks like some idiot has hung a bag of trash on the bear pole, which is not a good thing to do. There's also some tent sites down there. This is an interesting shelter. I haven't ever stayed here. Went through a bunch of comments about a bear that was always hanging around the shelter in the good weather, and probably, you know, chasing a food source and all that. Here's a sign right there, Gravel Springs Hut, 9 miles away. That's what I'm shooting for today. Thursday, 7 March, 11:14. Kind of hard to see, but I figured I'm almost in the Shenandoah. Beautiful out here, nice day. A little windy, a little icy coming up here. But this is a spot a couple years ago me and Ia came out, and we decided to take a little break here. Anyway, that rocky spot I showed you back there, me and Ia stopped at. Back in the early days, when I was collecting backpacking equipment and all that, I found out that, you know, got an idea for what backpackers eat, and it seemed like everybody was saying you got to make like a little cozy or koozie to stick your food in to help it cook, keep it warm and all that. So I looked on YouTube, and I think Darwin on the Trail put one out a number of years back about how to make one. So I went out and got the car reflective thing that you put in, you pay $1 or $2. You put it in your car window in the hot weather, and it's supposed to keep your car a little cooler. Anyway, I got one of those, and I made my little pot koozie. Not pot koozie, but koozie to stick my food in. It worked relatively well. So then I thought, well, I have my cooking stove, and everybody talks about you need a windscreen to help not burn up all your gas and to help. So I said, hey, I'll make a windscreen out of that aluminum, or that thing, that leftovers I had from building my koozie. So I thought it worked like a champ. We stopped at those rocks back there one beautiful day, and I said, let's make a cup of tea. So I pulled out my stove, and I pulled out my little windscreen thing, and I wrapped it around the stove and started heating my water up. Sure enough, that thing caught fire, and didn't completely burn, but it burned up pretty quick, so it was a bad idea. So anyway, now I just carry a kind of a piece of aluminum foil. It's the park boundary I'm stepping across. Now I'm in the Shenandoah National Park, so they'll talk about some of the rules and regulations for being out here in the backcountry, with the leave no trace being the biggest one, and probably the one that's violated by lots of people. The Potomac ATC maintains all the AT throughout here. Here's the information about backcountry camping with the leave no trace. Tells you how to fill out your backcountry camping permit. So this is pretty basic. So you just complete this form, you get it out of this box. There's a bunch down there, and then you take the top copy, and you have to carry it on the outside of your backpack, and you just kind of let them know. It's friggin' pencils in there, so it's kind of hard to see. But anyway, I listed 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 huts or shelters that I'm planning on stopping in. And I say I'm entering on the 7th of March, and I should be out on the 17th of March if all goes well. This is the way that the national parks mark the trails. There's 500 miles of trail out here in the Shenandoah National Park, and 100 of that is the Appalachian Trail, the AT. I'm at the Compton Gap trailhead, where I'll be crossing Skyline Drive right there. But this is pretty cool. Talks about some prismatic features in the rocks up ahead here, and they talk about how when the lava cooled and it shrank in a 6-sided shapes down through its depths, forming columns, and they call this columnar jointing. And there's an example of that up on the Compton Peak East Trail. Okay. I gave you that little teaser about that columnar jointing earlier today. I think this is the example that they're talking about. I still have a little daylight left. Pretty interesting. Bumped into a thru-hiker. I'll put more on that a little bit later on.